What was that? So, we just talked about, Star Wars for like an hour, and then the stream just wanted to go and, explode on me. So here we are for part 2. So if you missed part 1, go back and watch the first hour on the other part 1, and here's part 2. Okay, so let's dive into to all of it, God, I hate it when that happens. Okay, so, sometimes you just break the internet, sometimes. When you start talking about stuff that's just too good, when you start talking about the Ahsoka Season 2 leaks that are just too awesome, when you got the, the concept art that's just too cool, they shut you down. They just turn you off. They pull the cables out. And they're like, no, Mike, you can't talk about this anymore. So we're back, okay? We're back. But I appreciate you all for coming back. This is nice. Love to see you guys back here. So let's... Where were we? Oh, yeah. We were talking about Ahsoka Season 2. We were cooking. We were literally cooking up some crazy theories with Balin Skull and Shin Hati and Huge Wang and Grand Admiral Thrawn being bigger and better than ever and how awesome he is even though he doesn't wield the Force. We were really in a groove. We were on a roll. Oh, it was Thanksgiving and we were eating all the rolls. Damn it. Okay. But here we are. We're back. We're back. So no need to fear, okay? We're all good. Oh, another Mike who loves Star Wars, very generous $2 holla. I appreciate it. Says this is the stream we are looking for. Indeed it is.
This is where the fun begins.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you all for coming back to this part 2. So let's just dive back in, okay? Let's get back to where we were at. And we were looking at this image. Grand Admiral Thrawn, the enhanced concept art we were looking at before. So all this stuff is really, really cool. It's great to see that, we're going to be getting a very big old war in our Star Wars in one galaxy. And in the other galaxy on Peridia, we're getting some insane things like these massive looking celestial droids, even smaller versions of the same droids with Sabine and Ahsoka wielding lightsabers against multiple sword wielding, by the way, Night Sister sword wielding droids, and even they fly now. So in one galaxy, a war in our Star Wars. Another galaxy, crazy lore expanding wild stuff happening. Either way, it's gonna be awesome. Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be so freaking good. And actually, if I go back to the poll from last stream, by last stream, I mean the stream that ended 10 minutes ago. Let me see if I can pull this up. Ah, there it is. So the poll from last stream, which 2026 project are you most excited for? 59% of you, almost 60% said Ahsoka Season 2. 20% say Mandalorian and Grogu. 18% say Maul Shadowlord. And 4% say other. So a lot of people excited for a lot of things. Yeah. But Ahsoka Season 2 remains at the top. Mike, show the text on your shirt. It says those were the droids you were looking for. Yeah. Those were the droids you were looking for. Okay. You know what really frustrates me beyond belief? When the stream breaks down. Sorry. just had to get it out there. All right. But has Mike fallen to the dark side? Maybe. I'm about to on this streaming technology. It's crazy. Mike, stop kicking the cord. I didn't kick nothing. I didn't kick anything, okay? It wasn't my fault. They unplugged me. We were getting too good at the game. We were getting too far into the speculation and leaks of Ahsoka Season 2, and they were like, this whole Balin Skull stopping Ahsoka and Sabine, making them go back and open the door, it was too genius. They had to shut us down. They had to. All right. But we do have to switch gears a little bit here. There's some Mandalorian and Grogu news. We got some Starfighter news. We got some other stuff to get to here, so we will circle back to Ahsoka Season 2. We will circle back. But we got to talk about this Mandalorian and Grogu stuff. Okay? So let's start with this. we have a trailer for a Mandalorian and Grogu smuggler run crossover. I don't even know what to call it. Let's just watch the trailer, okay? Let's watch it.
We're really excited to upgrade the Millennium Falcon with an all-new mission to bring to life the characters, the Mandalorian and Grogu. There are a couple technical dimensions that really help our guests get lost in the story. Every single cockpit is driven by graphics cards all working in parallel. All of that media is being rendered in real time. We've access to the most amazing engineering teams as well as graphics drivers to make sure that we're delivering high quality media that truly transport our guests to that galaxy far, far away. In addition to an all-new story, we also went back and looked at each of the individual roles, pilots, the gunners, and the engineers, and looked for opportunities to further enhance the gameplay.
We call it Imagineering.
So, if you don't know, if you go to Disneyland or Disney World, or I guess any of the Disney parks, there is this, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge land. And one of the rides there is Smuggler's Run, where you go into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and you go on this mission with Hondo Ohnaka. Now, usually the events of this place take place in between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. However, because of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, they are doing a Mando crossover event with the Smuggler's Run. And Jon Favreau, the director of the movie, has confirmed that the events that take place in this Smuggler's Run ride will be right off screen from the Mandalorian and Grogu movie during the events of the film. Now, from what we know of this Smuggler Run ride is that there are 3 destinations. 1, Bespin, Cloud City from Empire Strikes Back, which is so unbelievably cool. The Empire is now in control of Cloud City, or the remnant of the Empire is, but still, it's one of the missions. The other one is Coruscant, so we might actually be seeing Coruscant in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which would be great. And then third is the second Death Star. Now, why on earth would Din and Grogu be going to the second Death Star? I don't know. But it could be yet another connection to that sequel trilogy that people, love so much. Either way, this Mandalorian and Grogu movie and this Smuggler Run ride are heavily connected. They take place at the same time, and the events of both take place. Din and Grogu will be right alongside of you in the Smuggler's Run ride, indicating to me that not only will the Millennium Falcon possibly be in this movie, but so can Bespin. So can the second Death Star destruction. So can Coruscant. So, cool little trailer for that crossover event of the Mandalorian and Grogu and the Smuggler Run ride at Disney parks. But it begs the question, do you think the Millennium Falcon and whoever's piloting it, probably Han Solo, do you think the Millennium Falcon, Han Solo, and Chewie will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu? Because if so, they're keeping it a pretty damn good secret. So tell me in the chat. Actually, let's put up a poll. Let's put up a poll. Do you think oh my God, Millennium, I can't type yet. Millennium, how do you spell Millennium? I think that's right. Millennium Falcon will be in Mando and Grogu. Yes or no? Yes or no? What do we think? It's more likely Lando and Chewie? No, because in the sequels we learn that in The Force Awakens, when Han gets the Falcon back, he explains the lineage of what happened. It goes, somebody steals it from Han, I forget his name, and then somebody steals it from him, and then it ends up with Unkar Plunt on Jakku. So Han should have the Falcon. Yeah. The Solo movie actor the Solo movie Han actor is going to be in it. That does beg the question, if Han or Leia or Luke is in this movie, any of them, honestly, if any of those characters are in The Mandalorian and Grogu or in the Mandoverse moving forward, will they be deepfaked or recast? And we've had this argument over and over again for years now, but what do we think? If Han Solo, which by the way, 60% of you right now say the Millennium Falcon will be in the movie, and where there's the Millennium Falcon, there's likely Han frickin' Solo. So if Han Solo is to be in The Mandalorian and Grogu, first of all, they're keeping it a secret, which is impressive, but they've done that before. Second of all, who will it be? Will it be Harrison Ford deepfake like they did with Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker in the Mandalorian Season 2 and in the Book of Boba Fett? Or will they just bring back Alden Ehrenreich? Because Alden, I love Solo. I think Solo is extremely underrated. I am almost always against the recast because these characters are so iconic as their roles. Carrie Fisher as Leia, Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, Harrison Ford as Han Solo. It's hard to imagine anyone else ever playing those roles. However, I did like Alden as Han. I did like Donald Glover as Lando. So I like that it was a prequel, which does change things a little bit. Just a little bit. It does change things. But tell me in the chat. Do you think Han is in the movie? And if so, will it be Alden Ehrenreich or will it be a deepfake of Harrison Ford? Or will it be a combination of both? I don't see them hiring Alden Ehrenreich like a big-time or somewhat big-time actor in Hollywood just to pay him to deepfake over his face, but I don't know. Ahsoka Season 1 almost had Leia in it. We got C-3PO instead, which was, cool. Anthony Daniels back. That's awesome. But we didn't get Leia. We've gotten Luke in the Book of Boba Fett and in The Mandalorian Season 2. Both times, he was deepfaked. So when it comes to Han Solo, what do we think? I'm seeing a lot of recast, a lot of Alden. So it is kind of a risk because the Solo movie lost money. It was the only Disney Star Wars movie to lose money. It was actually the only Disney Star Wars movie to not make $1 billion. So it would be a big old risk to bring Alden back to play Han again in their next movie. A lot of people weren't happy about it the first time. What makes you think they're going to be happy about it the second time around? Recast only to avoid AI stuff? If that's the alternative? Well, I'm sure that deepfake does use AI to, take and create old images of Han Solo and project it onto the new Han Solo. But it's also still a team of people doing that, Use makeup easy. It's kind of hard to use makeup to make a 83-year-old look 25 or maybe 30. Just a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's a little difficult. Yeah. Brandon Baker with a 19-month membership. That's insane, Brandon. I appreciate that quite a bit. But this actually does perfectly go into our next sort of bit here. Alden Ehrenreich played Han Solo. And getting him back for The Mandalorian and Grogu would be pretty cool. However, where there's Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, there could be Donald Glover as Lando. And this is pretty crazy news, but Donald Glover actually suffered a stroke and found out that he had this crazy heart problem because of it. So let's take a look at this article because it does dive deeply into it and the possible future for Lando Calrissian in the Star Wars universe, because we're supposed to be still getting a Lando show. So take a look at this. Lando Calrissian actor Donald Glover confirms that he has recovered from a stroke and heart problems. So this came to a big surprise to me, at least, yesterday when this news dropped. But Donald Glover, who portrayed Lando Calrissian in Solo: A Star Wars Story, has recently confirmed that he has recovered from recent health issues that caused him to cancel a recent musical tour. At Tyler the Creator's camp, whatever that says, Carnival, this music festival, Donald Glover explained that he had unexpectedly suspended his 2024 Childish Gambino tour due to a pair of serious health risks, and he had to heal from them before he could perform again. And here's what he had to say in the monologue to his fans. So here's what he had to say. I had a really bad pain in my head in Louisiana, and I did the show anyway. I couldn't really see well. So when we went to Houston, I went to the hospital, and the doctor said you had a stroke. The first thing I thought was like, I'm letting everybody down. Don't think that. Health comes first. They found a hole in my heart. Holy crap. So I had a surgery, and then I had another surgery. They said everybody has 2 lives. The second one starts when you realize that you only have one. You get one life, guys, and I got to be honest, the life I've lived with you guys has been such a blessing. I love seeing and performing for you guys. Very heartfelt message right there. You live 2 lives, and the second one starts the day you realize that you only have one. Pretty crazy stuff. Has a stroke, has this heart issue, gets it all fixed, surgery. He's fine now, which is great, which is fantastic. And that's amazing. I mean, crazy times. But this also comes in the wakes of, and this is the whole monologue if you wanted to hear that. He played Lando Calrissian. He is Lando Calrissian. And we are supposed to be getting a Lando show. I believe it was announced as a movie. Yeah, here. Well, there has not been a status update on the Lando Calrissian spin-off project since around the time that Donald Glover stopped his music tour. He and his brother have discussed ideas about where the proposed film could go. The Lando Calrissian project initially began life as a limited Disney Plus series and became a film. Okay, so I had it backwards. I thought it started as a movie and became a film, became a series. It was the opposite. Started as a series, became a movie. It is still one of several Star Wars projects that remains in development at Lucasfilm. For now, you can see Donald Glover play Lando on Solo, blah, blah, blah. So, no real update on that. However, it does, we were just talking about Alden Ehrenreich, so it's great to hear that he's doing fine, but that's some scary, scary stuff right there. Hopefully, I certainly hope that we get to see him back as Lando again. And I know that completely goes against what I was just saying about how I don't want the recast, but maybe it's just a one-off thing of he works and Alden worked because it was a prequel, but it's hard to do a in-between. When you have Han Solo and Lando Calrissian in the originals and then having both those characters with the same actor in the sequels and then having a different actor in between. That's what would throw me completely off. The fact that it was a prequel makes sense. The Lando show or movie will be a prequel as well, and that makes sense. I don't think it would be the best idea to have them recast in between. I still think to tell the most stories with Luke, Leia, and Han and Lando in this time period between the originals and the sequels is in animation. A Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. Maybe 5 or 6 seasons of an animated Star Wars show that follows our main cast, just like the Clone Wars. But if you're going to give us live action versions of the characters, the question is, should they be deepfaked or should they be recast? A Mon Mothma and Leia story arc might be fun. It would. And they sort of tease us with Leia in Ahsoka Season 1. Leia has had interactions with the Rebels crew in Rebels in animation. And still, 65% of you in the chat say yes, you do think the Millennium Falcon will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Never deepfake, in my opinion. But here's the follow-up question to that. Do you like Luke Skywalker at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2? Probably one of the most iconic scenes now in Star Wars has become this finale of Mando Season 2 from 5 years ago. Do you like Luke Skywalker in the Book of Boba Fett? Yes or no? Do you like Leia at the end of Rogue One? Do you like Tarkin in Rogue One? Because all of these characters are deepfake. Now, granted, it's a little different because with Luke Skywalker, it's Mark Hamill. It is Mark Hamill. They're just de-aging him. They're using a different actor. They're taking both performances, and they're creating a Luke Skywalker that's 25 or whatever, however old he is, but it's still with a 70-plus-year-old Mark Hamill. So if that works, then why stop? They've recasted Mon Mothma and Bail Organa. I don't see why not Han, Luke, and Leia at this point. Because Mon Mothma, no offense, Bail Organa, no offense, they're not Luke, Leia, and Han. They're not the trilogy of the main characters of Star Wars. You know? So I would rather those characters go into animation and get a whole story told there than to have to recast them for live action. And anything they do with live action, they should just remain in the deepfake form. Yeah. Max Lloyd Jones played him in Mando Season 2. He's great casting, although he did play a small role in the show. Yeah, he's the face. Is that the face? I don't even know. There's a kid who plays Luke Skywalker, and then Mark Hamill also plays Luke Skywalker. They take both performances, and they deepfake a young Luke's face onto the performances. Yeah. I'm okay with either. Yeah, I mean, it would take like the perfect casting to get me to come on board of a recast because it's Luke, Leia, and Han. It's not impossible. I could be swayed. But it would be very difficult. Deepfake has worked so far. It has worked so far. Has it not? Luke Skywalker in the Book of Boba Fett. Fantastic. Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2. Fan-frickin-tastic. Hayden Christensen in Ahsoka. Fan-frickin-tastic. It's got us this far. It's made it to 2025, and we're alive and well. And it just keeps getting better. The deepfake of Tarkin in Rogue One versus the deepfake of Anakin in The World Between Worlds in Ahsoka. It's incredible. Okay, so as you said, I totally get your thought process on this. What would you do if they announced a show where Luke, Leia, and Han are the main characters and they were all recast? What would my reaction be? Well, it fully depends on who the actors are. That's a big deal. I don't know. I mean, it does fully depend on what those actors look like, because if they don't look anything like the characters, then I'm completely out of it. I mean, I'll watch it, of course. I'll hope it's really good, but it completely throws you off if the characters aren't the same. So I would rather it be animation. Also, you have to put into effect that the animation side of Star Wars, it tends to be better than the live action side. Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, even the Tales stuff. You have more time to grow with these characters because you can do your filler episodes and it's animation, so it's not costing you as much. But you just have more time. You can make 5 to 7 seasons of a show and it not be nearly the same budget as a live action series. And speaking of budget, that does bring us to our next little bit of news here with Andor both seasons, I suppose, because another big update has come out about Andor and the budget for that series. Are you ready for this? Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bumpa. Okay. Take a look at this. Disney spent more on Andor than any of its Star Wars movies. Take a look. Disney has revealed today that they spent $60.5 million on Star Wars streaming series Andor in 2024 ahead of its debut. So $60.5 million on marketing. Kind of crazy. Of its second season in April of this year, giving the show a total cost of $705.5 million. $705.5. Now, here's the thing. Andor, is it a masterpiece? Yes, of course. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? It was fantastic. Season 2, I think, was a lot better than Season 1. Season 1 was still awesome. This is insane. This number is absolutely wild, and a big reason as to why we're going back to the big screen. Huge reason. They can't make $705 million off of one Disney Plus show. Yes, you have subscriptions to the service, but I don't know if it's even broken even yet. I'm not too sure. Either way, $700 million is extremely hard to make back in the box office. Granted, Andor is 24 episodes. It's a lot longer than a movie. But in the box office, with a movie, you have a way higher chance of making money. So this is, you look at this number right here, as good as Andor was, this is a reason as to why we're moving back to the big screen. Yeah. Because it just costs way too much to make these shows. Okay. Which is within the budget. Crazy. But still far higher than spent on any of the movies in the sci-fi saga. More than any of the movies. Disney has a mixed bag of results for its Disney Plus shows and movies since it bought it from the creator of the series, Lucasfilm, for $4 billion in 2012. All the stars aligned for The Force Awakens, the first of Disney's trilogy of sequel original films, which sequels to the original films kicked off in 1977. I can't read English. Okay, here we go. The Force Awakens grossed $2.1 billion and earned an impressive audience score of 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good to see. However, in its 2017 follow-up, The Last Jedi was only rated at a 41%, although the audience score shot it back up to an 86% for The Rise of Skywalker, the final film in the trilogy. It only grossed $1.1 billion, half of what the first movie did. Still $1 billion. Hence, a big reason as to why I think The Mandalorian and Grogu will make $1 billion. But that's besides the point. Star Wars hasn't been seen on the silver screen since then, since The Rise of Skywalker released. Instead, the mouse, has concentrated on streaming shows for its Disney Plus platform, but they are too expensive. Period. End of sentence. Yeah. Too expensive. The first in its series was The Mandalorian in 2019, which followed the English chat. I'm losing it. I'm losing my mind. However, The Mandalorian and Grogu is coming to the big screen because of this show. Alien called Grogu. 93% of Rotten Tomatoes is exactly what you're looking for. The sequel was inevitable, and that maintained its original highest standard, which was a 91% with Season 2. See, Luke Skywalker showing up in Season 2 does carry a lot of its weight, but it's the stuff that happens before that in that second season that still makes it great. You know, it's still what makes it probably one of the best seasons of television ever. Yes, you got Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, Boba Fett's return. It all helps, but it's the story itself. Like, Luke showing up at the end is not all that makes Season 2 of The Mandalorian great. We'll put it that way. And then it goes into, however, it crashed in its third season, 51% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then, of course, The Acolytes, which is 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. All that, blah, 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 blah. All right, get to Andor here. Andor. Oh, yeah, this. Studio filming in the UK get cash reimbursements up to 25.5% of the money that they spend in the country. So that was a big reason as to why Andor was filmed a lot in the UK because of this 25.5% reimbursement. That's a lot of money. especially when you're spending $700 million on a show. It's nice to get a little bit of a reimbursement back.